well.
Sorry, Kylie. Keep going.
Okay, I am so thankful to receive this honor on behalf of my women in Darapap Village and also my love, Ella Sapak. I want to also thank the strong women in my life, in the Kenni family, that including my mom, Julie, Kenni, and Rona Jiki, and my Kenni sisters, was a strong supporters always. As Fiona stated, Madam President, I am from Ngoram. It's a little station along the Sepik River in the East Sepik province of Papua New Guinea. I am a mechanical engineer by profession. I have been working in the petroleum industry for over 18 years till I left my paid job. I have 23 years of Sorostomist experience, and I've hold and been a member for Sorostomist, inducted member for Sorostomist for the last 18 years. I come from a family of 8 girls and a brother, and a very strong mom who raised us as well. I want to talk about the theme, Inspire Inclusion. My partner Ella and I are very privileged from where we are to be educated and being able to hold down a professional job. But as we go back to our village, it's either myself to Ngoram or Ella to Darapap, we realized that things were not always what we anticipated. Then we realized that we could be able to be catalysts of change in the place that we are. So when we went back to Darapap, it's a normal village like any other remote villages in Papua New Guinea, where women are the homemakers of their house. In Darapap village, it is a very village that is along a small sandbank that faces the open Bismarck Sea, and the back is to the lake. The women in the village have to paddle to market to trade for over 12 hours. They leave, if the market is on a Wednesday, they leave on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. in the night, and they paddle the whole night across lake to get to the trade places where they do marketing. Because it's a lake with mangroves and sago palms towards the end of the freshwater, they have crocodiles lacking in the dark. The women are the ones that does the fishing with the support from men. They also get the firewood to dry their catch, and then they paddle to the market. After leaving my paid job for 18 years and spending time in the village, I realized that the place was abundant in seafood, but it lacked such food such as sweet potatoes, yams, and PNG's the favorite staple food. They go with the abundance of seafood. It also lacks government services and government support in that place. With a thought from my brother, Lazarus Kenni, to Ella and myself, to try and build something that will suit our lifestyle in Darapap village on the Murik Lakes. We built houses on long hills to avoid the high tides that come in now and then. And a thought came, and we started gathering old canoes, broken canoes, and have them built on raised hills. Then we have to bring in good soil from Iraq, as well as soil from the mangroves. And we planted gardens on canoe beds on raised hills. My beloved partner Ella is a village chief, and in its Murik Lakes place we call it Simangwan, which is a title given to the chief of the village with a full customary traditional naming of the chief. So when he called the people together, do the above ground garden, we had all the women in the village gathering with support from men and young boys who have education, who could be mini takers of this meeting. And we had planted 120 home gardens with 70 and less surviving. And the others could not make it due to the soil, the sea, and the sea breeze, the salt that comes in from the sea breeze. When we gathered the village women and we planted a garden out of a old broken canoe, women could see that they could harvest village vegetables in their village rather than pedaling 12 hours to a marketplace to get food. Whilst we're doing that, we also get to inspire the entire villages to come together, men, women, children. Whilst doing that, the women of Darapap Village get to tell their stories of their long pedal journeys across the crocodile and alligator infested waters to the market through SIMNI International of Mountain North. And they felt they were included and they mattered. And it doesn't stop there. The 120 home gardens had now risen up a whole village. And we had a community now with men cutting in very big mangroves from the lake to bring in to do a bigger garden, a bigger platform. When we get to inspire others to understand the value of women, women get to be appreciated. From a little seed that I have planted in my home garden at Darapap, it now inspire inclusion of a village, of an entire village. The project I am doing includes the Sustainable Development Goals of goal number 1, no poverty. Goal number 2, zero hunger. Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. Goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. And goal number 13, climate change, which is the biggest challenge for the people of Darapap. From this bigger garden project that we're doing, from a bigger garden platform of 50 by 30 meter, we will now try to put in garden vegetable beds. We're going to also plant vegetables that we could consume and also increase production of the vegetable that we have in the village. Whilst doing that, we also try to raise funds and get ourselves an outward motto that women could now cut down the 12 hours of traveling to 5 hours across the lake to their project, to their garden area, and also to their market area where they sell and do butter for the things that they don't sell. I hope that my story gets to inspire each and every one of you that is in this room right now, because by investing in women, we can spark change. And we can also accelerate the transition towards healthier homes, safer homes, and more equal world for all. With this, I want to ask you all to continue to support my project through the My Cost page and donate even a $5. Because you have the luxury of walking into supermarkets, getting a bag of soil and planting your own backyard while we transport over 4 or 5 hours on a sea to get good soil to this place. With that, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for this award that I will share with my Darapap Village women. And I hope that this story gets to inspire each and every one of you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to try and put some images up so you can actually see where Kylian's talking about. Does anyone have any questions for Kylian as well? It's an opportunity for a Q&A at this stage if you'd like.
Cash, do you want to manage the Q&A for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Say the word and I'll run over and give you the microphone.
Yeah, let's figure out.
Canoes.
Canoes.
All
Yes.
canoes that were used to build the garden beds, and they had to be built on stilts to clear the water level. All canoes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, broken
And
canoes.
they take 14 hours to paddle to market through crocodile infested waters to sell food, bring back the money, bring back soil, bring water. They don't have anything there. They have to transport the soil, they have to transport the water to drink and to water the garden and seeds. They don't have anything in Darapap Village. That's why they need our funds to help them buy these things that they need to transport them over to Darapap Village. So, questions? Yes? Donations would be good? Two. What did they plant? Oh, yes. What did they plant? Kylian?
Sorry, come again.
Yeah. What plants, what crops do you plant?
We plant sweet potatoes, we planted pumpkins, we planted sweet corns. We also grow vegetables like pak choy that we are now trying to start sell for money, and also for extra cash, as well as we planted tomatoes, we planted beans and chili in the old broken canoe. So as Fiona has put up, this is what the project looks like. It's you can see this is the canoe that they paddle in.
Yep.
And when it has all in it and no longer used, we've paid for them in the village for like 20 kina, which is about $7, and we've bring in soil to put in and raise them on fields, and we planted carrots, beans, and also other vegetables like pumpkin and all that in the
Yes, so we've got taro, pumpkin, so the pak choy that you see here, they've used it. So you can imagine in a coastal ocean area as well, the amount of plastic that washes up. So this is recycling use of a very well-known brand of soda that you probably know. The pak choy is actually really well sought after. It fetches lots of money at the market, doesn't it, Kylie? Because it's very hard to find green leafy vegetables where they live, isn't it? The pak choy is really sought after. So are the capsicums.
We use one type of pak choy, which is the tropical pak choy. As I said, it's a learning curve for me as well, while learning to an engineer trying to become an agriculturist, and learning that there are certain pak choys that don't grow in certain places.
Yeah, so because of the salt content in the air, it had to be tropical pak choy. So this is the other thing. So the 120 veggie patches that they grew in Darapap Village originally, Kylian was like the pilot. She had to grow them in her backyard first and prove to the women that it could be done, and then also learned all of the hard lessons around the soil quality, etc. Her garden was thriving because she had fertilizer and soil from WeBack that she bought from the shops, but the women's soil wasn't as fertile, and more importantly, it had salt in it still. So one of the things I learned early was they need to go and find the soil, so from the mangroves. So there's a lot of beautiful fossils. So the mangroves area provide that extra fertilizer and richness of soil. But it also, you have to leach the salt out of it first. So they've learned over time how to do that. So now they have 120 gardens in each of their, and they've got heaps of seafood, no starch and no green leafy vegetables. So in terms of the sustainable development goals, in terms of no poverty, economic empowerment, and also health and well-being. So these children are and families are now being fed a more balanced diet. So the other piece as well is an outboard motor. So the purchase of an outboard motor for the women, and it needed to be a special type that could sit shallow in the water at the back of the canoe, because they're navigating through waters, crocodile-infested waters. And it's often dangerous as well. I've come across tribesmen from other tribes that will try and capsize their boats and, you know, cause harm to women, etc. So it's quite a dangerous journey for women. But the key piece here as well is Ella being a chief. If you understand, you know, village life, without Ella's designation as chief, the words wouldn't carry the same weight. And then the ability for Kylie to come in behind him as to be able to then have the rights to speak to the women and then engage with the women around the education and training and all that sort of thing. So a fully inclusive conversation because the women were involved, and then the rest of the village got involved. So you can see here, this is propagation, where they actually started to grow the little seedlings. And we've now got nurseries, you know, the kind of plastic greenhouses. Yep. And again, because now there's monsoon season and heaps of salt, you've got to protect the seedlings, otherwise their leaves go yellow. So again, lots of learning. And the engagement of the whole village in the propagation process. And then the other real upside is the education and training that can now happen in the village with the women as well. So one of the biggest challenges is teen pregnancies. So whenever Kylie and Ella get to go there, they actually deliver education pieces as well. Kylie Ann's engaged Kinnebank to actually come to the village and deliver financial training. So the teaching the women about banking and finance. And the other thing that Kylie Ann did very first up was establish a cooperative between the women in the group, so in the village. So the women have their own cooperative and they have their board, their president, treasurer, etc. They've got a council of women, which is where all the government funding comes through. And then they've got their Darapap Women's Village Cooperative. And 25% of all the proceeds from sales of the food at market go to the cooperative. And those funds are essentially for the women to use for emergency medical attention. So it's 3 hours by boat to get to the closest clinic. So the women now have their own economic means to be able to support each other. And you know, if they need that funds to do whatever they need to do in the emergency, they can then pay it back over time. So they're actually setting up their own economic structure to support each other financially as well, which is absolutely incredible. So on top of the feeding of the people, they're starting their own business. So then this comes to the next phase of the project. So that's where the market is, by the way. And it looks like there's no water there, but this is all mangroves.
That's little waterways that goes from the lake that connects into, that's where the marketplace is. It's on the red dot. So you can see they pedal from Darapap across the lake all the way into a very, very tiny waterway into where the market is on the red dot, Wasprin and Boy. So it takes about 12 to 14 hours by pedaling on canoe.
So you know, you think about us and we just put in our woolly filter and then someone picks it for us and sends it by a truck. 14 hours. So then this is obviously the women and the canoes being grown. These are some of the women. That's a grocery run. Crazy. So Kylian's been able to, so this is the other thing as well, water. So this is the men, 3 hours by boat. Every family has their own jerry can.
Yeah,
And
they go across the boat, across the entire lake towards the laboratories coming out from the Mississippi, so they can be able to get fresh water that is not salty for cooking and drinking. So it's on this boat, you can see there is a 20-liter container from every family that Ella has to put in the boat and go with the boys to go and get fresh water for the family.
20 liters. It makes water restrictions a whole other thing, doesn't it? And then this is a map essentially of where the location of the new big above ground garden is going to be built. Do you want to explain that?
And we're hoping for another contribution and funding to come through. So on that same place, we could also put in a desalination plant, which takes in salt water and turn it into any fresh, safe drinking water for the village. So as you can see, the Darapap Village is on the other side, and above ground project side is just about 15 minutes paddling by canoe instead of doing a whole day paddling by canoe to get fresh water, or 3 hours by outboard motor. So they could now put their containers into canoes and then paddle across 15 minutes from the village to the project site. So we're hoping that we should get through to get some funding to do a desalination plant on the same platform that we have our above ground garden that could also use for the garden irrigation as well as safe drinking water for the Darapap village as well as other villages in the Murik Lake.
So Kylian's brother actually has ties into the World Bank, and so she was talking there about accessing funds to be able to build a desalination plant. So they've got a lot of solar panels. So obviously that means that that's only a 15-minute paddle across rather than a 3-hour ride at the moment. And the other reason for the change in that location is to make it accessible to 5 other villages on the lakes area. And being able to give them access to obviously clean drinking water closer, and also power. So just incredible. So that piece of the project pretty much came out of the snowball. So in terms of the ongoing funding requirements, being able to, transporting everything there is an ongoing cost because the soil doesn't exist there, it's got to be brought in. But I guess the sustainable part of it is once they grow their own food and they've got certain foods they can seed from there. So the purchase of different seeds is another thing, and obviously transport costs, and then the ongoing piece. So it's now become this incredible collaborative process that will fundamentally change not just the Darapap Village now, it'll be the whole of that region. So quite incredible. This is the final piece. This is the men in the villages. This is essentially you can see the rods there. That's mapping out where the platform is going to go out over the water. And this is Ella talking to the villagers. And then this is the men harvesting the poles, the mangrove poles. So we don't see mangrove trees like that here. Serious mangrove trees. So this is the men harvesting the poles, and this is them transporting the poles back down to the location. And then they'll be pounded into the sand to then build the platform. And this is the men receiving payment for their work, which for these men is an unusual thing too. So the empowerment of the men too is equal parts for this project. It's a big project. It's 12 months in the making, and 18 months in the making, and another 12 to go to pull it together. So these are essentially the phases, and the reason why we love it so much is because it's building sustainability and capability there in the village. There'll come a day where they won't need us anymore, and that's amazing.
And everybody has
Everyone's got one of those, yeah.
on that table.
That's it, Kylie. Do you want to say anything else? Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your high tea for a bit, and we'll come back in a sec. Yes. For the great photos. have some time together. Thank you. Thanks, Kylian.